Originally going to talk about was Laci Green being red-pilled. We are late to the party.
And it's gonna be even later by the time this shit goes up.
Yeah, only by a couple days. I have a feeling, I have a really good feeling, people will still be talking about it by Saturday. So, you know, I was thinking about it because should we be talking about these two YouTubers' personal relationship? And then I thought about it. Just about every YouTuber we've talked about, it had to do with a sort of personal situation. When we talked about PewDiePie, JonTron, the Daddy05 family, that was personal, but who wasn't talking about that? That one woman whose name I forgot right now, Maria or Marina.
Yeah, the chick who's like, everyone
thought she was
weird.
being kidnapped or being like held against her will to make videos.
Yeah, I'm joining a cult apparently. Like she actually wrote like a Facebook post about joining a cult or something.
Laci Green, sex expert on YouTube. That's how she kind of got her foot in the door.
Yeah, and I remember people. I remember you see the fucking trolls all the time talking about, "Hey, Laci Green is the worst. Am I right? She's horrible." And like I checked out one or two of her videos. I was like, "Oh, she's just talking about when you want to have sex with someone, you should give consent." I was like, "What? What's the problem?"
But the biggest part of it, relevant to the story, is that she was, at least for a time, seen as a sort of feminist, like spokesperson or activist. And the issue now is that she's currently in a relationship with a YouTuber who is known for being a misogynistic douche.
Oh, who is it? Who is it?
Chris Raygun.
Okay.
I'm never sure where people are with the, like, history of these misogynistic hate movement stuff. And so I don't want to be, like, explaining to you. Can you tell me, like, what you remember from Gamergate? Just so I don't end up going on for, like, 4 hours on stuff you already know.
Oh, yeah. Darren, I forgot. He was kind of involved in the Gamergate shit.
Oh,
you probably needed to know that.
Where him being a shit starts.
Okay.
I was just, like, searching his Twitter for, like, asshole keywords just to, like, double check and see how recently he used a bunch of horrible words just to, like, get a brief overview on whether or not this dude was, like, maybe recently being better or something. And he was just posting, like, Islamophobic shit about terrorism yesterday. So this is definitely not a, like, dude has changed situation. I hadn't heard of him specifically until, like, before the whole Laci Green thing exploded. Someone, like, tagged me into a thread of his to try to get him to look at my timeline and harass me for being an evil social justice warrior, which he luckily ignored because that's always deeply annoying when that happens, and it happens like about once a month for me. And so, like, there was this whole thing with Laci Green being red pilled and all this stuff, and the main thing is, like, it's really less about that she's dating this guy and more just like hanging around with these people and validating their opinions as being something that a progressive voice should listen to.
Okay, see, I didn't know that she was dating this dude. Like, I thought it was just like, yo, all right, this is how I took it, right? Because I heard, hey, I'm Laci Green, I'm very sex positive, you know, but like a lot of people that are kind of aggressive, kind of like shit on me. But I wanted to talk to some of the people who are on the other side or whatever and be like, yo, maybe you guys aren't hearing me right. Maybe there's something getting lost in translation. Let's open up a dialogue so we can directly talk to each other. That's what I thought it was. I thought it was purely on some, hey, let's talk to each other shit. I didn't realize she was dating this guy. I didn't realize it was like, we are romantically involved, and thus there is more of a, there's more of a direct motivation for why I want to get in the good graces of this fan base. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was on that level.
I first noticed, because I really hadn't heard about Laci in years, really. She hasn't really been making waves, so to speak. And then I saw that she had a debate with Blaire White. And about maybe a week or two later, I'm seeing, you know, oh, am I taking the red pill? Oh. And for those who don't know Blaire White, both of them kind of benefit in the same regard that they're both conventionally attractive, and I'm sure that has something to do with the alt-right being so willing to listen. It's like, oh, we got one of their big names. We got one of these big social justice warriors to listen to us. And that is where I think the confusion comes in, because you still got a lot of people who look at it as what's so wrong with opening up a dialogue.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking at first. I was like, I don't understand what's wrong. Like
during the election, right? I told my friend, hey, just to hear what the other side is saying, kind of humoring, I kind of listened to Rush Limbaugh to hear what the other side was saying. And my friend told me, dude, that's not what the other side is saying. That's what the fucking fringe is saying. You shouldn't really be giving too much credence to that, because that is so farther than what the run-of-the-mill person is saying. So when you're giving credence or listening to these anti-SJWs that are so, hateful in their speech on Twitter, it isn't so much opening up a dialogue, it's giving a microphone to someone who's, I'm not going to say 100% spewing hate speech, although I'm sure some of it would apply or fall into that category, but it's not exactly like you're giving the rationalist.
Right. So it's like you're the rational person and you're talking to who is a person who's vocal but isn't actually the representation of more conservative minds.
I think Blaire White is a really useful example to look at for this, because Blaire White is trans and has a audience of people who are deeply invested in being extremely misogynistic and transphobic, as well as, all these bigotries all hold hands and love each other. So all the other whole, she's posting racist shit and everything like that too. And her whole deal is that she makes transphobes feel better about themselves by posting transphobic shit herself. And
right. I'm not transphobic. My favorite YouTuber is trans. Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, and so one of my side projects, I run a bunch of bots that mention people who term search themselves on Twitter or whose fans term search them and yell at them, and they're these are extremely simple bots that just pick between less than 20 responses and only work on people who are extremely aggro. And the one that gets the most people arguing with it is Blaire White, because Blaire White has a bunch of term searching people who find people who are talking shit about her and then at her on the responses to attempt to get her attention. And it's extremely transparent and creepy. And so it's so I kind of feel bad for her, because she clearly has an audience that is mostly transphobic chasers who don't want to who want, in the way that you get people who are I'm not racist because I like watching interracial porn kind of thing. and it's trans people have the same deal, the same kind of deal, and frequently they're intersectional, where it's I'm not racist and transphobic because I'm into watching trans black porn. And if you want to there's a certain point where I'm just if you can manage to make a buck off of these assholes, feel free to do it. But when you're confirming all of their worst ideas about trans people and making it okay to say those, then that you're seriously fucking up and doing a lot of collateral damage. And that's what Blaire White does.
And so by platforming them, what you're saying is it doesn't matter what their point is. The people who are more susceptible to be interested in going to that side, they're already going to be pulling even more for that, instead of trying to uplift voices that are going against what the typical norm is that represents a more progressive change. Would be a better idea, right? I hope exactly. I just formulated a sentence. Halfway through, I was just wait, I know I'm just saying adjectives right now.
No, you've got it.
So that's what people mean when they say don't platform these people, because like the people who are on the fence but leaning towards that more bullshit agenda, because of the way history has gone so far, which has lent itself to being transphobic, which has lent itself to being homophobic, which has lent itself to being racist, because that's the way things have been so far, because we haven't been critically thinking about these issues. We're finally now critically thinking about these issues, and these people who would lead us into those regressive ideas again, it like, to give them a platform is to just be reinforcing what we've been trying to get away from.
And a lot of the time, people will try to do this thing where they're like, let's humanize and listen to their perspective. Let's look into the brains of the Milo fans and understand where they're coming from. And it's like, we know where they're coming from. Like, we can't block all of them on Twitter fast enough to not know where they're coming from.
Well, actually, I would say where they're coming from, the reason why we understand it already is because that rhetoric is already woven within our society, like up to this point. That's what we're untangling. We're untangling the hatred. We already know what it is.
Why don't trans people listen to the people who've been screaming slurs at them our whole lives?
Yeah.
And it's like, because we're tired of it. We've been doing, like, the people that want you dead don't have anything interesting to say. They just want you dead. Like, they have a bunch of excuses for it, and we know all of them already because we've been directly fighting them for all this time. And like, since I posted about the Laci Green stuff, I keep getting people who are like, you need to get out of your liberal echo chamber. And it's like, I have left my house before. I know what this is.
Well, have you really thought about the people who want you to die? I mean, have you really thought about what they think? Like, yeah, I have. I really have.
I just think it's fascinating that you've got people coming at you defending Laci who probably up until a month ago wouldn't have given a shit about her.
Exactly.
Yeah. And they're term searching. She's term searching her own name, or people are sending stuff to her and she's responding to it. I'm not sure which one it is, but
that's funny. I find that funny. People term searching.
I need to put her in the honeybots and do an update so that I can divert some of this attention from real people, because I know a lot of people who are really getting sick of dealing with the shit. I made the honeybots to be a drop in the bucket against harassment, because it's emptying the ocean with a bucket to attempt to like wade in and waste the time of harassers. Like, it's a blip on how much of like cannon fire that like half a dozen bots can take. But at the same time, it's so cathartic watching someone argue with a bot that has less responses than a Magic 8-Ball about social justice issues that they don't actually understand or care about. And then they think that they're really smart coming out of it. And it's just like, it feels very good to watch these people think they're getting one over on something that's basically rolling a d20 to argue with them.